Just gonna drop that slightly. Hopefully I'm not too loud. Just gonna make sure, everything is a bit working. I hope everybody has been enjoying their Monday so far. I know I definitely have. And as you might see in a bit, I got some new transitions. One of my friends was showcasing hers while she was streaming the other day, and I'm like, where'd you get it? E-free? Or else I have to learn how to make it myself. And she's like, yeah, they got some free ones on Streamlabs. I'm like, sweet. Anyway, so that's an update. Of course, if you've seen the stream schedule, you know that I've got a little update of that. You know what? Let's not make this a little straining on the eyes and have this a bit blank, but yes. So yeah, there's that. Whole bunch of stuff, really. A lot of personal projects, but anyway. So, like I said, I'm going to be playing through all of the side stories. The only problem right now is I noticed that I didn't get the picture for Sayori and Yuri's one. But I think what I'll have to do is just go back through theirs and just replay the second episode. Which I'll probably have to do that on my own. Oh, I might be getting double auto from this. Let's just shut that one off. Sorry about that. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm hoping you guys have a good Monday. I'm having a great one. And yeah, might turn myself just a little bit. I was briefly checking and making sure. I've been screwing around with OBS for the past while for other reasons. Anyway. So, yeah, I noticed that I didn't get Sayori and Yuri's stuff together, but that's fine. So, let's get into it, I guess. And yes, I was playing the music as the background, but oh yeah, I never seen. Okay, no, we never got anything new. So, like I said, I don't know why, but going through the pictures, for some reason, I got this, which meant I finished the first side story of Understanding 1, which I'm a little confused by. I think that might mean I have to play through them again, which I guess would make sense. But then it also makes me think, like, is there more? Like, I might be missing something from Self-Love Part 1. I don't know. Anyway, so I was thinking first go through all the Yuri stories, because in this household we stand Yuri, and then just going on through there. So the next one we have is Reflection with her harmonica. So let's get started. Am I bothering you? No? Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you always look so into it when you're recording. Or when you're reading. Whoop. It makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work, so it can be healthy to put myself in a social environment every now and again. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, or there are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances across the room at Sayori and Natsuki. Sayori has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of cookie that Natsuki is lobbing into the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. Maybe I should say something. No need. They just ran out of cookie. What a waste. They've really been good friends, really become good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayori seems particularly good at making that happen. But the two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, have we? I thought that may I thought that may be partially my fault since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I probably formed a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh, but I like it that way. It must be nice to be carried off again after a morning class. Do you always read fantasy? No, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, but only because I'm in the middle of this series. There's still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that, I'm more or less indiscriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? Even like romance? Well, there's a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri, you know what I mean. Monica lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot. So I just kind of felt like, please don't make me think of the past. Sorry, I just got super curious. You know, we should probably pick out a romance novel to read. It'd be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it was just between us? Try asking somebody who has no shame, like Natsuki. Ouch. Oh, sorry, I swear I didn't mean it. Well, I guess if it was my fault for pressing you, I'm like that for things in my past too, you know. Things I feel too embarrassed to re-experience. Oh? Oh, do you want to describe it? There's nothing wrong with growing out of things. It happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I was, used to be for my own interests. It makes me think that she'll likely grow out of it too. Hey, are you two talking about me? No, we were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple of years ago, I guess. I was really sort of into it before, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Oh yeah? What is that inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess, let me think. It was after I discovered a series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just like really fed up with a lot of things and got super into this one series that I really related to. I guess I had an edgy phase and where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be myself. Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monica. Sorry. That's completely wrong, so it's still cool that you both really found your thing. They're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they helped you a lot through hard times. You know it. Wow, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not by very much. How high do you think it would go if you stacked the whole series up? Natsuki estimates by holding her hand high above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those mangas that's like 50 volumes long so that I can say I've read more than you. Not that I have the money for that. Please, that would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking. I can never actually read books like yours. It's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill, I said for me, not you. I can have my own opinion, and I just think that it's too convoluted. Sayori, are those from the floor? Ah, gross. Fucking Sayori being the little trash gremlin here. Also, wash your hands before touching any of my books. But my hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Okay. Sayori trots out the door, and Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly. She was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. I already understand that it's not for everyone. But she knows well how much that means to me. But she knows well how much those mean to me, so how about just leaving me be alone instead of needlessly telling me the things you hate about it? Mood? Fucking mood? I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in the literature club, so I should figure out how to mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find something in common with both of you. Common ground isn't necessary, I just wish to be respected. That then. Either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. Okay, everyone. We have a special club meeting today. As you know, the Literature Club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. But that also means we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little dramatic about this? This is important to me. Well, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused of something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry if it came off that way. But our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it would be a good topic for the Literature Club, don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have a difference in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thought. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayori, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by category. Should I start with the snacks, or do you mean full meals? Should I include breakfast? That kind of mood. Oh geez. How about your favorite fruit? Oh, that's easy. Cherries. Really? I always thought cherries tasted nasty. What? Cherries are delicious. Whoa, that's a pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. How does it make you feel? I don't know, sad? You don't like cherries? God. Defensive, maybe? Yeah, I got defensive. See, the reason you had such a strong reaction wasn't just because I don't like cherries. It's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries taste nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on. How is that objective? Hey, how's it going, Arthur? How is that objective when you just said it was your own opinion? It has to do with the way our brains are interpret the words. You're talking about the reality of cherries, not your feelings about them. Like Sayori. Let's rewind for a second and pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. I'm doing good. I did a lot of side work today, so it's been really it's been, I want to say, a little chaotic, but also pretty fun. Good. So what if instead of that, I said like, I've tried cherries and they're not for me. It's not that kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine, as long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty is a nasty word. Fair enough. Okay, so cherries are kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about cherries, I just talked about my feelings, and so Yuri didn't get defensive. So instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not gonna quiz you or something. I know that. I was just... So... Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any other thoughts so far? Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language through a filter just to protect someone's feelings. Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting it as a tool to help you learn, help you turn your differences into a positive experience rather than an argument. Right, Sayori? Whatever you say, cherry hater. Oh, come on. Sayori, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate. What the heck? I've been duped. I'm sorry, I'll make it up to you later. How about a cherry sundae? You are welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president. Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable. Oh, like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri. You were certainly a fan of those cupcakes I brought over the other week. I was reading and not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So, now that we have the gist of it, how about we try it with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about our differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not to. Oh, how come? Well, because I don't see how anything productive can come from that. It's just that it's going to start a fight. No, well, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not a child and you don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable? Yuri's expression changes at the word. As Monica recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly that. It's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You are entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance in my reading material. I look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well, that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were gonna say that manga's for children or something, like I don't hear enough of that. But there's plenty of deep manga. I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my own fair share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past my point in life and I really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now. Excuse me? Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's just try to keep it subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? She's not wrong. Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki. Nobody's immature. I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring isn't subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, there's the thing about... Unfortunately, no. But I think it must have been like... I don't know, she didn't find any good ones, so then she was just like, okay, well... She didn't find Berserk, and now she's like, okay, well, I'm done. This is ridiculous. Do you see why I don't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset. I'm not upset. Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always got the impression that you secretly look down upon me, so I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. That's not true at all. You're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in a mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling all my interests immature. You can't. Please stop. Please. You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? Yuri's piercing words send the club room into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Holy crap. I've never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so... Well, I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate a conflict when I knew how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. But I guess we're sensitive about things we really love. Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down on other people for it, that's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things, it's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. I mean, she's also super tall, so she's looking down on you either way. So, I see what you're trying to do, but I really think the problem here is her, not just, like, the way we talk about things. I mean, Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow, I'm just, like, saying that instinctively. I'm just setting myself up to cause more problems. This wasn't your fault, Monica. You don't have to beat yourself up over it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on now. But, it's fine, I promise. Let's just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, that's what I say when everything is not okay. Sure. I at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. I don't know if I remember the main game. This will be a learning experience. Monica says that, but her uneasiness is giving away how much she has to force and the reassuring tone in her voice. It was bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other, the least out of anyone. And this is a reason. As Sayori and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga, Monica sighs and inserts herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to come to terms with the fact that some members will just be incompatible with each other? Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, and she knows Sayori doesn't either. But for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. Oh. Okay. Yes. A new day arrives. Sayori arrives to the club room earlier than usual. That is not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper. Whenever possible, it tends to serve her as her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because a ship sailed away. Yo. Ah! Natsuki? Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. And my cat has poked her head over my screen. Ah, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Oh boy. Alright. But it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah. Thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh, no, it wasn't. I mean, I just do whatever it's convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the club room by herself, so... Oh. Geez, does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while, but as soon as it just hits you and your thoughts again, it comes back. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty, and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had to have that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got to me this time, and I hate that I'm letting that happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? I mean, well... maybe. I hate that she thinks she's so much better than me just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decided they don't like me or manga or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? After this, obviously not. What about before this? Well, I would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, then it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But, you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Sayori shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga, it's... misclick. I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot of it to interpret and uncover, and it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both, and I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like, first it was with Monica when I was new to the club. Then it was you, and now it's Yuri. Okay, bye. And I'm always like, oh, that person is being such a jerk, and if they just realize that, then we can at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everybody is just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. And I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Yuri pulls a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. Puts. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everybody else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know, and sometimes it makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at some things, some kinds of communication, and it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles with a lot too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I also have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me, like my friends and I guess my dad, like when I don't get good grades or even stupid things like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. Okay, that makes sense why you're always angry. It feels like something goes wrong and then there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I find ways to blame everything else instead. Do you see yourself better than Yuri? If I said that, then I would just sound really full of myself. No. Our thoughts and feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about themselves. That's part of vulnerability, you know, accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's just the judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy phase. Stop it. No. And that I'm just way above that garbage. No. But I'm just terrible feeling that way. You're not terrible. You're not your feelings, but you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself, out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. That, the way that I like to picture it, is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you can ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then, and it's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other, and maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with, called depression. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. Wow, big goddamn mistake right there. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remained silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Sayori's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside of her. Was it the result of of her vulnerability? No, it wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to discover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. I'm not going to yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair of me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time, I won't try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's just a habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages a nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns, and I can't get away from them. What kind of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Oh, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monica thinks back to the time that she herself found herself in an altercation with Natsuki, and how display maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But, you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She just, well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness first before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh, but that means the burden is on me, and I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Very true. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. I'm fucking mood. That's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their mind. So I did, and that she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayori and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So, for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from somebody like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. And my feelings about her are wrong. And am I wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential? No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just the state of being that we don't always have control over. But that doesn't mean they have control of us. I feel like that's something I learned around when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things. Or we can, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through your through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Hmm. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature and so good with people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect, but these are learned skills. They don't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to, reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not enough. I want to be able to communicate it with her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel. Frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of getting in the way. I can't help it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Monica looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayori might be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, well, if you wanted to, then I really don't mind. Monica pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. I love when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to get to see that side of you. And I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm gonna write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea. Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure, I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things, and I say things I don't mean. Oh, so this is where she gets the idea for the letter. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayori. My personality just isn't suited for that. And I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned from that friendship, is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with somebody like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she put so much effort in understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. And I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That's where the type of person or a magical formula I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that. Always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person, when you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they always want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in literature club. Observations? Monica is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talk about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. Sayori too. And it makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea that it meant so much to you. Monica never thought much about it, but in the past weeks, Yuri has always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. It's true, Sayori and Monica are naturally more comfortable with each other and can more easily work through situations and conflict. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths, weaknesses, and the capacity to improve. And the first steps towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never really gave herself with enough credit for, but that Monica can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. Cute. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fist pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monica is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, as expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monica glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain her composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to see you during lunch. Yuri squeaks a response. Please help me. Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back to her classroom, says something like, I gotta go, to her friends, then grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Me? Well, yes. Oh gosh, sorry, I was caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired. Never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? I don't know, I think I'm just easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and start neglecting the time. Me too, I do that too. Same. Hey, this classroom is empty, let's go in. After peering inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs up to the same desk, then obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take the initiative. Gosh, she must really be determined. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes through the anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Aw. Hey, Yuri is left-handed? What? Hey, you're left-handed, that's neat. Yeah. Nah, I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Oh my god. Her and I are the same-handed. Holy shit. Monica playfully rubs her shoulders against Yuri. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start listing the different things you want to say to her? Yeah. Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. It's okay. How about some things you said to me yesterday? But never mind. I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then she writes down the word reflection. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends with Sayori and Monica. That's me. Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks, I've been able to be best friends or befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same thing goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile to each other because I was so weird about getting what I wanted, but she just wanted to be respected more than anything. once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So, what kind of things do you want to do for her? I want I want to do the same thing for her that I like to receive. Like, I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. And I like when you and Sayori trust that I want to be a good person, even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Yuri writes some of those things down. I think the most important thing to remember here is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell somebody all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them and admit the things that you feel you could do better. Then, finally, you ask what you would like in return. What does that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, 1 for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts are so disorganized, I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing. You're so amazing with these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know? You spend so much time reflecting and being open-minded that's the hardest for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. But as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hook Monica's hand in place. Aw. For a while, they sit in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of being we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It's also made up for their past experience and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people rather than as insignificant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you feel about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I'd really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughs softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into the whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful thinking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me that I never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So I just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks, and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. I'm sorry. No, I love it. Please, never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. Oh, we're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I am too shy. I can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales. I'll message you when it's ready. Monica nods. Good luck. I'm here for you if you need me. Yuri returns to the room and the two depart. No. Got more music. I don't know what, but it's there. Let's see. Oh! Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. That is adorable wallpaper. I think that was it. Oh boy. Character discrepancy. Having run the control simulation for a while, it's evident that a certain character is missing from any mention or appearance. This makes me speculate that Monika's meddling is less clumsy than we think, because she would have had to manufacture this character herself as a way of forcing interaction between her and the user. Could that be why the character has such a limited and dissonant personality traits? Or am I reading too much into this? I'll open an issue to start tracking info and observations on the anomaly of this character appearing. Okay. Interesting. So I think we have Monika and Sayori, we have Monika and Natsuki, and then we have Natsuki and Monika. Yeah. That mail in the like in the menu had some interesting things, like well, actually I could probably just oh no, that's just somebody, like how the side stories are like ways for Monika to like it's trivia stuff for Monika to do changes, and they don't know if it's for fun, and then it's like there's somebody who is missing. It's interesting. It's like a side story within a side story, and I have no idea. Like, I kind of know what they're talking about, but at the same time I'm like, so is Monika real, and then the characters are all fake, or is like Monika an AI and she's gone rogue? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, and it would require me to wrap my head around it, and I kind of don't feel like that. Oh wait, 1, 2. Oh, no, we do have 3. Okay. Let's just do the first one. Okay, everyone. The literature club is starting. Let's all have a seat and take attendance, okay? I miss debate club. Who knew it would be so difficult to start a new club? I feel worse with every day that passes without anyone coming in. I'm really starting to lose confidence. Monika is the only member of the literature club. In the days that have passed, all her efforts to recruit new members have been fruitless. Am I going about this wrong? Monika glances at one of her flyers. The headline is, "Do you like literature?" Maybe nobody is into literature enough to pick it over their other club interests. I can't just rely on people liking literature. I need to sell them on a vision. A vision? But what kind of vision? Monika rests her head on her desk, deep in thought. But before she realizes it, the recent nights of staying up too late start to catch up to her. Uh-oh. It's quiet, and the noises of the air conditioner is soothing. Hello? Suddenly, a voice causes Monica to snap awake. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I never do this. Is this the napping club? No, this is... Monica pauses, suddenly embarrassed to admit that this is in fact the literature club. This is the literature club. Yay, I thought I got it wrong for a sec. I'm super sorry. It was like so unprofessional of me to do that. Don't apologize, I do it all the time. Oh. Did I miss the club meeting? Where is everybody? Well, about that. This is everybody. Really? Just you? Well, we're getting more members. I'm working really hard on it. Hold on a sec. If it's just you, that means I get to be vice president. Hell yeah. Wait, vice president? What are your qualifications? Well, I'm better at napping than you. Maybe I should be president. Now you're just making fun of me. Oh, I'm sorry. What's your name? Sayori. Okay, Sayori. I've been trying really, really hard on this club. I know you caught me at a weird time, but it's really disheartening not to be taken seriously, you know? I care so much about this. I just want to find other people who do too. Oh no. I'm so sorry. I do care, I promise. I have a hard time being serious, that's all. I didn't mean for it to hurt you. And I was joking about the vice president thing too. I would make a terrible vice president. I mean, I'm sure that Monica tries to say something reassuring, but it's difficult when she still doesn't know much about Sayori. I'm sorry that this isn't a real club yet. Would you still be interested in joining me after I found a few more members at least? Well, no. I want to join now. Really? Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Besides, I can tell how hard you've been working. You're doing something amazing, and you should be proud of it, you know? So let me help you turn something stressful into something fun. If nothing else, I'm good at that, so... Honestly, how could I possibly say no to that? That's really sweet of you, Sayori. Oh, I'm Monica, by the way. Monica. That's such a cool name. Oh, now you're just trying to cheer me up. But you're smiling. Well, I didn't say it didn't work. Monica glances at the flyer on her desk and realizes that her name is already written on it. So, what do we do first? Well, it's getting pretty late, isn't it? We can go home and try to come up with some new ideas to recruit club members. I can do that. Cool. And I think I need to put some more thought into my vision for the club. You know, like a mission. My mission is to make everyone happy. Yeah, something like that. I need something to think about. Hey, do you like hugs? I guess so. Okay. Sayori suddenly pulls Monica into a friendly hug, then let's go. Some people can just really use a hug sometimes. Besides, Sayori whispers loudly, hug energy is what keeps me at my best. Hug energy. Monica laughs. Although Sayori is really different from her, Monica feels her spirits lifted. Maybe it's just because she finally found another club member. But, well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow then. It'll be fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna think really hard tonight about how to get more people. Yeah, me too. A day passes, and the time comes for the literature club. Monica and Sayori to reconvene. As president, Monica assures that she's the first person to arrive at the room, but she finds herself waiting longer than expected for Sayori. It's been 10 minutes already. My cat's looking at something and I don't know what it is. Maybe Sayori changed her mind about joining? No, that can't be. She was excited yesterday. But I am getting kind of worried. Suddenly, Sayori comes bounding through the door. In her hand, she's holding a sheet of paper. Sayori, Sayori, sorry, I'm late. I'm here. It's okay, welcome back. And Sayori spins over to Monica and deposits the sheet onto Monica's desk. What's this? Take my hand, take me forward, take me to your dreamland. Caution me to watch my step so I can't look back at my footprints. Climb the stairs ahead of me while I look up to you. The more I look forward, the more I look up, the more I can listen to you. If you can trust me to follow your pace, I'll trust you to set it. If you can trust me to lend you a smile, I'll trust you to return it. Take my hand, take me forward, take me to your dreamland. That sounds like a song, not gonna lie. Hey, this is really good. You wrote this, Sayori? Of course. Wait, no, that's the wrong side of the paper, huh? I wasn't ready to share that yet. I'm so embarrassed. Aw. Monica flips over. Written on the other side is a list of ideas for recruiting club members. Oh, so this is what you were meant to show me. But I'm curious now. Do you write poetry often? I do, but I'm sure not anywhere near as good as at it as you are. Ah, really? I'm actually terrible at writing poetry. I've never written anything I was happy with. Like, I always read it again a week after I write it, and then I'm like, wow, this is so stupid. That can happen sometimes. I assume it's mostly lack of confidence. I don't know. It's like a dramatic version of me doesn't agree with the person I want myself to be, or something like that. Aw. You should have more confidence in yourself. You're the literature club president. I guess you're not wrong there. I need to set a good example or whatever. You know, I can envision the club doing something like that. Doing what? You know, like sharing poems you write and stuff like that. Well, that does happen. Oh yeah, I would love that. It's such a good way to learn about other people, you know? It's like we have so many emotions that we can't express the other people usually. But you can when it's a poem, right? Yeah. I think it's helping me form a more cohesive vision for the club. So I'm glad you showed me, well, even though it was by accident. Me too. I felt embarrassed at first, but now it feels kind of good that someone else read it. I'll try to show you more of them in the future. I'd love that. Oh, jeez, I'm getting distracted. Do you want me to go over the this recruitment brainstorm together? My brainstormed so hard, it was like a brain hurricane. My brain is a natural disaster, causing $4.5 billion in damage to the homes and structures around it. Sayori, that's terrible. Anyway, let's take a look at the list. Make cupcakes. I was hungry. But it's a good idea, isn't it? Let me think about this. I mean, when would we have the chance to give people cupcakes? You know, like when they come into the club. What if we said we had free cupcakes on the flyers? I'm kind of worried that it would bring in the wrong kinds of people, you know? The wrong kinds? People would just come for the cupcake, then leave. Aw, nobody would do that. That would be mean. But you know, I want to find people who are really into literature, even if they don't know it yet. Let's see, the next thing on the list is hunt for people reading books. I don't think I get it. Like going around the school and finding people who are reading books, you know? I mean, that was how Yuri got caught. Like in the morning or during lunch. And we'd tell them to check out the literature club. Well, the problem with that is, like, wouldn't most people reading books just be doing it for an assignment or something? How would we know if they're just reading it for fun? Well, we could ask them, but then we'd be bothering people who are trying to do schoolwork. Do you know what books you guys have to read for school? Look for the ones who aren't reading those. I didn't think about that part, I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. You're coming up with a lot more things than I can. Oh, your next idea is to hand out flyers rather than just put them up on the wall. I'd definitely like to start doing that. I'm useful. I never said you weren't. That was kind of a mood there. I just need to think, what would we tell people when handing them out? I don't want to be like join the literature club. Let's figure out how we would engage better with people. What if you told them about the club activities and stuff? Club activities? Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be my job to come up with that, right? A vision for the club. Okay, Sayori, pretend you're a normal person for a sec. Pretend you're normal for half a sec. Wait, I didn't mean like that. You know, like a random passerby who's getting a flyer. How would you react to the idea of a literature club? Probably like, literature is stupid. I'm joining the I'm joining the anime club? What the heck? Sorry, I was just thinking of a friend of mine. Okay. What if I said, like, do a group reading and discuss it together? I would probably nap through that. That's you, Sayori. Yeah, but that doesn't really sound fun to most people anyway. I've originally thought that the literature club meant they did stories and shit, but... Alright. We need to really catch their interest, you know? This sucks. Why is it so hard? Monica, don't be sad. What do you like about literature, Sayori? Me? Well, kind of what I said about the poem earlier. I think it gives you a chance to express yourself. Like, express yourself in ways you can't normally do when you're just doing your normal day and talking to your friends. I mean, we all have so many thoughts and feelings that we just don't get to share, you know? It's like, intimate. Yeah. How do we get that across to people? We could be like, express your true self. Be intimate with us. Okay, that's kind of... I'm kidding. Jeez. Oh my gosh. What is it? I forgot all my things in my classroom. I must have gotten too excited and rushed over here. Silly me. Rushed, but weren't... never mind. Did you want to get your stuff then? I'll forget it if I don't do it now. Well, I'll wait for you then. Okay, it'll only take a second. Sayori dashes out of the room, leaving Monica momentarily alone. Monica sighs and starts jotting her thoughts on the sheet of paper. Express yourself. Be who you want to be. Make new friends. Discover a new you. Discover your heart. No. Write your heart out. No. Write into your heart. Write the way into your heart. Join the literature club. Write the way into your heart. Wow, that's like... Isn't that the catchphrase of the game? Monica, you startled me. Sorry, but it's something important. On the way to the classroom, there was a girl reading a book. Reading a book? Let's hurry, recruiter. Wait, are you sure that she's not doing homework? I could tell she was really into it. Well, I guess we could take a look. Monica grabs one of the flyers and stands up from her desk. Okay, so I've just realized that the stories are supposed to be read from top to bottom. Okay, so they're gonna go and visit Yuri. And I've just done these completely out of order. But they're also making sense at the same time. So, I mean, hey. This way. You don't have to run. Sayori leads Monica over to a particular classroom, then lowers her voice to a whisper. See? In there. Monica peers through the window. Sure enough, there's a girl sitting alone, intently reading a book. I feel like a creep doing this. You should go inside and talk to her. Me? You're the president, and I would probably scare her away. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Monica takes a deep breath, then timidly returns to the classroom. That was fast. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Why? What happened? Well, I entered the classroom and she didn't even look up from her book. So I kind of just left the flyer on her desk, then walked out. That's kind of cute. But I'm sure she'll see it if she see it and want to join the club. I hope so. Shall we head back now? The two head back to the club room, Sayori feeling rather accomplished, and Monica still feeling a bit embarrassed by the encounter. Upon returning, Monica and Sayori resume their strategy meeting. They discuss various kinds of recruitment tactics from professional to silly. After going through Sayori's list, with Monica coming up with ideas of her own, the two end in a better spot than from when they began. Well, I would say today was pretty productive, wasn't it? Yeah. I think we're starting to make progress. I can't wait to get some new members. Hey, what's this? Sayori peers at the sheet of paper Monica was just jotting on earlier. Oh, don't mind that. I was just thinking to myself. Join the literature club. Write the way into your heart. That's so cute. I thought it was a little overdramatic, but Sayori pauses and thinks for a moment. You know, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. What? What do you mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like I can tell from talking to you today. It seems like you're always afraid of doing something wrong. Yeah, but would you call yourself a perfectionist? Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, I always have an idea in my head of how I want things to go. And it's just like, I can't accept anything less than that. But I think in the end, it helps me try my hardest at everything. So I don't think it's that bad. Like with this club, we have such an opportunity to make it into exactly how we envision it. But it feels like we only have one shot at it. So I'm just really afraid of deviating from that vision. What's the vision? It's... Monica pauses to think, then shakes her head to herself. She sighs. I don't know. I just want everyone to... Monica trails off. Smiling, Sayori taps her fingers against the sheet of paper. Write the way into your heart. I think what you're trying to do is to make the club that you need the most out of anyone. Well, you're the one who knows yourself best, of course, but I'm here to help you. Monica returns Sayori's smile. It's sort of amazing how kind you are. We're really gonna make this club the best club ever. Sayori nods and the two remain silent for a moment, lost in thought. The only sound is the steady whisper of the air conditioner, and the only movement is the afternoon sunlight trickling its way out of the moving clouds. Sayori breaks the moment by giving a big yawn. Time to go home? You tell me, you're the president. In that case, today's meeting is officially over. I look forward to tomorrow. Me too. Sayori beams and grabs her things. Go on ahead. I need a few minutes still. Oh, I can wait. That's alright. I just want some alone time. In that case. Sayori waves enthusiastically at Monica. Good luck. Monica smiles and waves in return as Sayori spins her way out of the club room. All alone, she sighs to herself and takes a minute to zone out. She wasn't prepared for the self-reflection encouraged by Sayori, but she decides it was something she probably needed to get right about now. The club that I need the most. I don't get it. I just want to start the club with more passion. Something that I could use to help lead people to happiness. Literature is that key, because it's the window to the real person inside of us. Underneath, the person who's forced to always smile and blend in. The person who's forced to be perfect. Monica suddenly notices a folder on the floor by her desk. Did Sayori leave this behind? I hope it doesn't have her homework in it. Worried, Monica opens the folder to check. Poems. It's a folder of poems. Become the flower. A feeling of joy is a flower plucked from the ground. The color, the scent, it's so pretty in my hair. Every day I pluck some flowers as though they grew just for me. A lifetime of peace and nourishment yanked away in an instant. All for me, all for joy. I need more. I need more joy. I need more happy. Pluck, 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 every day. Pluck, pluck, pluck. So pretty in my hair. Pluck, pluck, pluck. You're going to die, and you too. Beneath my feet a flower stands alone. It beckons to me. I twist the stem, freeing it from its clinging roots, caressing the final joyous moment between my fingers. But to what ends? I look in every direction, and the field I stand in, the prosperous field, is a barren wasteland, the fruits of my labor, the carnage of my joy, and that is why I decided I must become the flower. What the? Wait. Sayori? That's some pretty good pictures, though. Or some pretty good poems. Hell yeah. Another day passes in a flash, and it's already time for the next club meeting. Although Monica should have come up with a plan for today's club tasks, she hasn't been able to shake her guilt and anxiety after reading Sayori's poem. I am so stupid. How did I let myself be the center of attention? Sayori is going through these kinds of feelings, and I'm letting her confront me instead of the other way around. What kind of club president does that? This whole time, I didn't think to ask about her own feelings. So much for this stupid vision. Sayori enters the club room with her usual smile, but upon seeing the downcast Monica, her smile quickly fades into an expression of concern. Monica? Is everything okay? I'm really sorry. I'm such a terrible friend. Huh? What are you talking about? You're an amazing friend. Monica shakes her head. I made this all about myself. Even you said so yesterday. You told me that I'm trying to make a club that I need the most, right? But my problems are so trivial compared to yours. Sayori responds quickly. What are you talking about? But as she says that, her face darkens. Through the silence, Sayori mutters, I left my folder here. Monica stares blankly ahead, unable to come up with a response. I wasn't ready to share those. Now you're worrying about me. I don't want that. But why? We're friends, right? Wordlessly, Sayori nods. Friends look out for each other. I want to be here for you as much as you're here for me. A long moment passes in silence. The air is incredibly heavy. This is different. It wasn't just about you yesterday. It was about the club. Besides, things were so happy yesterday. You don't need to do this all of a sudden. I don't want it. I like happy. So, if you do this, then you're just being selfish. Monica massages her forehead, struggling through the frustration of such a paradox. It's understandable that Sayori isn't really ready to share certain things, but as unfortunate as it is for Monica to pry, it's painful for Monica to force herself to ignore the needs of her friend. I'm sorry I looked. I disrespected your privacy. No, I don't blame you for looking. You would have at least needed to check if it was mine. Yeah. Monica takes a deep breath. Okay, I understand that you don't want me to worry, and I think I'll be able to put it aside so that we can move on. But can you promise me something? Promise you what? Monica pauses to collect her thoughts. This is a literature club. This is a place where people can express themselves in ways that life normally doesn't allow them. That's the vision. In fact, it's our vision. Right the way into your heart, or whatever. So, I just want you to promise me that you'll remember that too. It doesn't have to be right now, but I want to be here for you when you need it. Doesn't that change quick? I want us to be ourselves, like that. Sayori smiles gently. I'll promise if you promise. Unable to help it, Monica returns Sayori's smile. I promise. Me too. As the conversation closes, the mood in the room is lifted. With that behind them, it's time to proceed with the club activities. So, want to teach me about poetry? Huh? But what about recruitment? It's fine. We have plenty of time for that. But right now, I feel like I want to do this. I mean, I do have to fulfill my end of the promise, you know? There's no way I could say no to that. Just don't expect much. I do a lot of writing, but it's not like I'm a scholar or anything. That's fine. I think I just need, like, some motivation. I never knew where to start when it comes to writing poems. Starting isn't so hard. You kind of just need to write down your feelings and see where it takes you. That is actually pretty true. I say as I remember the unfinished poetry book and the one poetry book I already have out. It's been weird playing through this game and I'm like, oh, I would like to read some of my poetry. But then I get nervous and not confident. You just kind of need, oh yeah, and see where it takes you. Yeah, but that wouldn't come out any good. It's not supposed to. You're gonna have to fight your perfectionist mind on this one. You can just start by writing your feelings and see what kind of things it makes you think of. And then you can turn your feelings into a little story. You can get your feelings down first, then make it sound pretty later. It's not like building a railroad where you have to go from one end to the other. It's more like a collage where you can find all the things you want to put in, then you arrange them in a pretty way. At least, that's how I do it. It's not like it's the only way. I don't know. Although, what is funny is it would be kind of relevant for here, but... But it's a really good way to not get stuck at the beginning. I understand. Yeah, I always get so caught up in how it sounds that I forget what's actually important. Monica pulls out a pen and paper and starts writing on. Stop being a perfectionist, you idiot. I'm just kidding. Monica scribbles out "you idiot" after she writes it down. No, keep it. Why? Are you calling me an idiot? Of course not. But the point is that you're supposed to police your feelings, right? Be as dramatic as you want. But I was just... Well, yeah. Underneath the scribble, Monica rewrites "you idiot." She stares at the paper. Her words stare back at her. It's kind of funny how I wrote that down, what I'm mad at myself for, and then I did the exact thing anyway. This is really gonna take some getting used to. I believe in you. Thanks. I do too. Me, I mean. But also, you, of course. Monica continues to exercise, jotting down her thoughts. Oh. It's surprisingly quiet, quite a struggle to write down everything without overthinking it. But after a while, with Sayori's guidance and encouragement, Monica's sheet of paper begins to look fairly lively, peppered with all her random thoughts. Monica looks up and down at her sheet. Gosh, I feel so tense looking at this. I hate it. But it's also kind of liberating. I can tell how hard you're trying to make it happy, and it makes me happy. I think you'll be good at writing poems. Don't give me too much credit. I'd have to try really, really hard at it. But I think it's something that I'll enjoy doing. With you. Sayori beams. I'll stop here, but we still have time. Let's try to work on a new flyer for the club. I won't be so picky about the language. Yay, let's do it. Monica and Sayori proceed with their work. With each passing day, the two of them become more and more confident in the club. Not simply from their recruitment planning, but from their vision as well. As their bond strengthens, so does the essence of the literature club. Finally, they begin to truly feel it's only a matter of time before they find more members. Which is true. Another day passes. As usual, Monica is the first to the club room. With her is a printout of the revised Literature Club flyer, complete with all new ideas Monica and Sayori came up with. If only this was a flyer we gave to that one breeding girl the other day. It's so much more attractive than the old one, but the new catchphrase is featured clearly in the center of the flyer. Write the way into your heart. Surely, common sense would say that one writes from the heart and not into the heart. But the message delivered is one that one can use writing to discover themselves. Hopefully Monica and Sayori had thought that would be enough to garner some curiosity from the students. Why do I feel so tense looking at this? Monica thinks back to the previous meeting when she performed the writing exercise. Was I always this bad at expressing myself? How I'm supposed to be the president if I can't even demonstrate what the club is supposed to be about? The Literature Club is truly beginning to take form, but with that, the weight of Monica's shoulders only becomes heavier. Debate Club was always about rigid structure, formulating airtight points and counterpoints and delivering them with conviction. It was about the person on the outside. That's why Monica was so good at it. It existed entirely within her realm of comfort. It's suffocating. I need to break through this mental wall. I need to learn to express myself. For real. Monica pulls out a sheet of paper and grabs her pen. She presses the tip of the pen firmly against the paper. But her hand doesn't move. Instead, a tiny blot of ink collects around the tip of her pen. Monica lifts her pen and stares at the little blotch. For some reason, she feels compelled to run her fingers across it. As she does, the black ink smears across the paper, ruining Monica's canvas. Out of spite for herself, Monica presses the pen down once again, letting the ink collect. She creates a second smear on the paper. Come on, Monica. Just move your hand. Monica writes. This is what I get for seeking perfection. A stain. Actually, a really cool visual poem right there. Maybe I might after Monica's, I guess. Because I keep thinking about it. I might as well. Monica slides the paper away from her, and puts her hand down on the desk. The air conditioning seems louder today. I'm here. Hi. Monica hears Sayori approach the desk, then stop for a second, probably reading the piece of paper. Then she sits down in the adjacent desk. Bad day? Mm-hmm. Me too. You too? The new flyer looks good. You've been working so hard. On the club, but also something else, I think. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's so hard to just be vulnerable. Sayori takes a sheet of paper from Monica's desk. She writes something down, then stares at it for a while. Can I trust you? Of course. You can trust me with anything. Sayori gazes at Monica with sadness in her eyes. Understanding the signal, Monica takes the paper from Sayori's desk and reads it. Sometimes I want to die. Was that Sayori or Monica? Okay, no, that was Sayori. Sayori, this is really hard for me. Her voice shakes. So if I can do it, then you can too, because you're like a million times better than me. That's completely not true. Sayori takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Also, to the second person watching, if you said hello, hello, I was away for chat for a sec. Sorry. That's something about me that I've never told anyone before. Even now, my head is like screaming at me to stop. Wait, you don't have to force yourself. I mean, just because of the promise yesterday, I want to. It just feels right. I mean, maybe it's part of the reason I came to this club in the first place. This is a literature club. I trust you. More than I'm scared. At those words, Monica stands up. Sayori must have taken days to work up the courage for this. Were Monica's own futile but genuine efforts actually the push that Sayori needed? Sayori's deliberate breaths can be heard over the air conditioner. As she prepares herself to continue, Monica waits in gentle silence. I have this problem where I get really upset when people worry too much about me. I can't control it. It's like, why waste your energy worrying about me when you can just be happy instead? So I never tell anyone about these kinds of thoughts I have. It's so much easier to just smile and help everyone else be happy. But that's terrible. That's what Monica wants to say, but she stops herself from saying the wrong thing. It's just that even if everyone knew about it, they wouldn't treat me the same anymore. Like, whenever I'm not smiling, everyone would worry about me and ask me what's wrong. I know that because it used to be like that. Sayori pauses, seeming to recall something in the past. I just want everyone to be happy. That's the most important thing to me. And letting people look inside my head doesn't bring happiness anymore. Sayori pauses again, her solemn expression making her look almost like an entirely different person. How did you find the courage to tell me this? You're not worried that I'll be one of those people too? I am worried. Part of me really hates myself for doing this. But another part of me, I think, just feels like it would be different this time. Whenever we talk about what the club is supposed to mean, I keep feeling like it was the right thing for me to do. Especially after you've been trying so hard to express yourself too. It just made me feel like I could say it in confidence. And a friendship doesn't have to change. It's so silly. The club is only 2 people, but it already means so much to me. Monica feels a tightening sensation in her heart. A feeling of connection as Sayori's emotions radiate between them. Me too. I was so lost until you showed up. You're so brave, Sayori. You're so strong and brave. I don't even compare. Monica steps forward. But if nothing else, I can at least offer you some hug energy, if you'd like. Oh shit, that's cute as hell. Wordlessly and without a smile, Sayori rests her forehead on Monica's shoulder. Through their contact, Monica can almost feel the torrent of thoughts swimming in Sayori's head. And in this moment, enchanted by the air of the club, Monica realizes that of all the days that have passed, this is the one where she really, really hopes that nobody new walks through the door. She speaks softly. You're like the sweetest girl I've ever met. You can say anything, I'll never judge you. I promise. Sayori's breath begins to quiver. She takes several long, deep breaths, trying as hard as she can to start speaking, to say the things she never once dared to say out loud. Finally, she speaks in a choked voice. I'm so worthless. I'm worthless and everyone would be better off without me. She suppresses a sob as tears fall down her cheek. I'm just an inconvenience to everyone. Okay, stop speaking my mind, Jesus. I am not good at anything, and it feels like everyone just has to put up with me, and I hate it. I hate it. The more Sayori speaks, the more she falls to control her voice, falling victim to the overwhelming sadness clutching at her throat and cheeks and chest. I don't want to have these thoughts. I want them to go away. And now I'm making you put up with me, and I just want to die. As soon as Sayori loses her composure, Monica becomes determined to keep her own. She only wants to be what Sayori needs right now, so she won't let any sadness show. Her voice comes through, soft and gentle. This isn't putting up with you. This is just being your friend. Monica offers a few words of comfort. But she knows, Sayori said it herself, that the thoughts Sayori experiences are ones that don't belong. And Monica can't magically make them go away. The most she can do is help Sayori battle them, like any good friend would. You have so much value, to me, and your other friends too. This club wouldn't have been the same without you. I really, really mean that. You coming here was the best thing that could ever happen. Even if we never got any other members, I would still be happy. That's what brought you here. You brought us a vision, and you also brought us happiness. And that's your favorite thing to do, right? Sayori doesn't respond, but Monica feels her gently nod. No more words are needed between them. The two share their embrace for a while longer, Monica letting Sayori take as much time as she needs. Once the breathing steadies and her sniffles fully escape, Sayori lifts her head and wipes her eyes. I guess I needed that. Some days are harder than others. Well, I'm here whenever you need me. But any other time, I'll make sure that things are the way they usually are. If that's what makes you happy. Thanks. You're the best. No, you are. The two exchange smiles. You know, I'm sorry to bring this up all of a sudden, but have you considered talking to a professional? Sayori nods. It's scary. Since it's already so hard to tell people. Yeah, well, of course it would always be your choice, but if you're ever looking to find the courage for it, I can do my best to help you. Thanks. I think it helps knowing that you would. Sayori suddenly yawns and stretches. Wow, that made me tired and hungry. Well, I won't make you do any work today. If you're not up for it, no, I want to. I mean, I can say that it's definitely one thing that makes me happy. Monica smiles. But I might want to get a snack first. All of a sudden, the sound of the door causes the two of them to turn their heads. The door opens halfway, then stops. A face peeks inside. A face that seems familiar. It's Yuri. Hell yeah. So we got more music. Sheesh. That's a lot. Pictures. Oh. Oh, that's cute. Oh, those are I'm really liking these wallpapers. Okay. So you unlock a lot of these by... Okay. By just, Oh. I know, I thought she was gonna come in, then it was like, nah. A poem from Yuri distributed at special events in the past. There once was a ladybug. It was so small that it took a really long time to crawl from here to there. It was very tiny to fly for too long. Nobody squishes ladybugs because they're cute. Does that make them better than other bugs? Do ladybugs know they're cute? I think they're too preoccupied with bug things. And so the ladybug crawled around and did bug things. The story wasn't really going anywhere, but I know you don't mind. I hope you think it's nice for being there anyway. Like ladybugs, like this ladybug. The one who clings like a doof onto your sleeve because it knows you won't squash it. If it doesn't bug you, will you stay a while? Cute. Eh. Okay, so we got that CG, which is cute. Oh, we did get that one. And then I did not get all the secrets, unfortunately. Seed. Oh! Oh, so that's what he was gonna look like. But then again, I guess we kinda got it from here. Alright, what was in the mail? Oh my god. Okay, who is responsible for creating a Twitter account for Monica? I think it's hilarious, but for God's sakes, don't tell Paula. It would get 404'd in a microsecond. Are you just relaying her tweets manually, or do you code some kind of pass-through layer to automate it? Based on the contents of the tweets, not screaming for help, I'm assuming they're coming from the controlled simulation. Okay. Huh. Yeah, right. Like, oh shit. Okay. So, now we're down to 2. I'm just gonna, you know. Sorry. I am kind of looking at some of them and I'm like, you know, this, like, some poems I've written, and one of them I'm just like, you know, I did like this one. This one is cute, but also might be very cringe. And, like, maybe even the one underneath. But yeah, I don't know. She's on Twitter. Help. Yes. Natsuki and Monica. Let's go. It's been several weeks since the club has officially started. Through their initial setbacks, the 3 club members so far, Monica, Sayori, and Yuri, have increased their collective bond within the club. Sayori has partaken in some of Yuri's high fantasy literature, and all 3 of them, led by Sayori, have taken an interest in poetry. On a day like any other, the 3 find themselves suddenly interrupted by the club room door opening. And in walks a girl none of them have seen before. Hi. Sayori tugs excitedly at Monica's sleeve. Yuri shifts in her seat and buries her eyes in her book. Are you here for the literature club? Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for stopping by. It's kind of a small club still, so it's really exciting to see new faces. Yeah. Come and sit down anywhere. You can sit next to my desk. Sayori prances over to her desk and presses her palms onto it. Oh, and Yuri can make you some tea. Sayori looks up and at Sayori in protest of having drawn attention to her. Natsuki silently glances between everyone, then sits down to Sayori. Next to Sayori, Monica follows by sitting nearby. The sudden gathering prompts Yuri to stand up, deciding that standing in the corner and making tea doesn't sound bad after all. Okay then, how about we all introduce ourselves? Okay. Well, I'm Monica. I'm the one who started the club. I was originally in the debate club, but I really wanted to do something I felt more passionate about, if that makes sense. So I started the literature club as a way for people to express themselves through writing or reading or whatever kind of literature. You know, I figured it was your club. You have that vibe. I have what vibe? Oh, you know, like, never mind. I'm not gonna judge people I just met like that. Very adult-like of you. I always judge people so hard. Oh no, you don't, Sayori. Yeah, she does. Yuri's deadpan voice carries across the room. Natsuki giggles. Show me Yuri. Show me Yuri. I'm Sayori. I just like learning about everyone and making friends. Oh, and I also like poetry. Oh yeah? Very adult-like of you. I am an adult. The sound of Yuri's electric kettle steaming up fills the room. Oh, that's Yuri. Sayori lowers her voice. She's kind of shy, but she's really nice and super smart. She likes big fantasy books and tea. And I love her. And I love her too, Sayori. Well, I guess that leaves me then. I'm Natsuki. I like listening to music and hanging out downtown and stuff. And my favorite ice cream flavor is strawberry. Oh, let's get ice cream. My favorite flavor is probably cookie dough or maybe chocolate. It's cookie dough. And Monica is probably Ooh. What the heck? I take way too many online quizzes. The ice cream ones are always accurate. What's Yuri's favorite? Natsuki shrugs. Probably green tea. I'm just joking. I have no idea for Yuri. Still, it's chocolate and raspberry. It's pretty chill here. Do you just like to hang out or do you actually do club stuff? Well, we do club stuff too. It's just that it hasn't been very structured yet since we only have like 3 members, so we kind of just loosely spend our time doing the stuff we like. But I keep thinking it's about time we start with like some more structured club activities. It's been a while by now since I started the club, so yeah. Well, with that being said, what kind of literature are you into, Natsuki? Anything you'd like the club to get into? Well, I guess I'm literature. Well, I like manga. Manga? Hey, why did you say it like that? I want to read manga in the club. Wait, hold on a sec. That sounds so great. Like, all I've been doing all this time is... Yuri returns to the desk with a tray of teacups as she sits down on an empty desk. Wow, words. After all of the deep and immersive reading I've been doing, I wouldn't mind doing something a little more simple. Manga isn't simple. If you think that, you don't understand the nuance. I didn't mean simple like that. Well, anyway, putting manga aside, is there any kind of literature that you're interested in? Well, not really. In that case, have you considered the anime club? Are you serious? I'm not joining the anime club. It's full of weebs. Weird guys. Come on. Is it that big of a deal? I mean, I guess you consider the literature definition of literature, then technically. I get it. Look, I'll do whatever the club activities you want. Can I please just join? I won't bother anyone. If I can just, like, keep my manga here and hang out after school, I'll do literally whatever you want me to. That's fine, right? Yeah, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Oh my god, thank you. You're the best. I have most of it crammed in my locker, so I'm gonna start getting it, okay? Natsuki stands up. Need some help? Nah, I got it. I don't want you to see my locker. If you say so, but there's no way it's worse than mine. I hope we never find out then. Oh no. Natsuki exits the club room, leaving everyone silent, save for the sound of Yuri sipping her tea. I'm such a pushover. Hey, it's not that bad. Natsuki seems like a lot of fun. Maybe, but she is like not actually interested in literature, you know? And that's normally fine, but she says she would participate in club activities like it's some kind of obligation. Her tea is gonna get cold. Yeah. Wait, that's not related. Well, I think everyone deserves a chance. Especially if we can bring her happiness. Besides, maybe she'll take a liking to literature. Are you sure you just don't want to read her manga, Sayori? Hey, who do you think I am? Sorry, I didn't mean that. I just feel really uneasy about this. Do you have any opinion, Yuri? Not particularly. She said she wasn't going to bother anyone. That includes me, so does that mean I bother you? No, you're a pleasure to be around. I was just fishing for a compliment. I know. Hey, it worked. But still, I really think we should give her a chance. Yeah, alright. Maybe I'm gonna start enforcing club activities. I'm willing to cooperate. Suddenly, the three of them hear a thump against the door. What was that? Sayori stands up and walks over to the door, then opens it. Thank you. Carrying 3 boxes, what is presumably manga, Natsuki grunts and wobbles inside before slowly bending over and dropping the stack onto the floor as gently as she can. That's quite a collection. Sayori giggles in excitement while catching her breath. Natsuki replies, There's still one more box. I can put them away myself. I know how to organize them. Monica anxiously glances between Sayori and Yuri. Is this really okay for the club? Maybe it's what she needs to really kick the club into gear before everyone gets too complacent. It seems like things are finally going to start getting more serious. At the next club meeting, Monica is the first to arrive. But ever since Natsuki joined, she feels a lot less relaxed. Why am I so nervous? Monica paces, trying to figure out her feelings. Natsuki says she wasn't going to bother anyone, so why does it feel like the atmosphere has changed so much? While Monica thinks, the club door opens, revealing Natsuki carrying a box. Monica forces a smile as Natsuki makes her way to the closet. Natsuki forces one in return. Need help? No, I got it. Monica awkwardly tries to start some kind of conversation, but fails. Curious, she peeks into the closet where Natsuki is stashing all her manga. Once dull with school supplies, the shelves are now vibrant with bright colors and cute-looking artwork. You know, the top shelf is pretty empty. Maybe we could keep it up there. I can't reach up there. That would be so inconvenient. Yeah, but... Monica sighs. The teachers are going to ask why all this manga is doing in here, and I have to tell them it's for the literature club. So? Monica backs off and slumps at her desk. With this kind of tension, it feels like the relaxed atmosphere accumulated over the past few weeks is being sucked right out of the room. Good afternoon! Sayori spins into the club room. Oh, I see someone is in a good mood. Yeah, because I have this. Sayori brandishes a cookie wrapped in plastic. I found some money and got a cookie. Oh, it's so pretty. As Sayori trots over to the closet, the colorful shells catch her eye. Oh my god, Sam. That'd be me too. So these are all yours. Well, you could start by giving me a bite of that cookie. No way! I saved up all my luck to find that money. If you want entry into my kingdom, you need to pay the tax, peasant. Boo. Defeated, Sayori unwraps her cookie and breaks off a piece for Natsuki. Then Yuri silently walks into the room. Monica glances at her with pleading eyes. Yuri returns a quick nod of understanding. Well, everyone's here now. Despite the club only having one more person than before, it somehow feels twice as lively. Okay, so I think today we should go over some potential club activities and see which ones we want to do first. We have 4 members now, so it'd be great if we found some stuff to do as a group. Does that sound good to everyone? I agree. Okay, so I have some ideas of my own, but I want to hear your ideas too. Well, I've been having a lot of fun learning about everyone else's interests. Maybe we can give each person a day to share their favorite kind of literature with everyone else. Well, maybe. Something tells me that Monica glances at Yuri and Natsuki, who both appear very unwilling to even consider each other's interests. Maybe we can try to come up with something that everyone can equally enjoy. You know, like we all vote on a book to read or something like that. I think we should all collectively try to expand our interests rather than just stick to the things we're familiar with. Why does it feel like I'm being targeted here? Natsuki, didn't you say you would go along with whatever the club wanted to do? Well, yeah, but that doesn't make it okay for you to ignore everyone else's preferences. I like Sayori's suggestion. Me too. Yeah, but... Monica's voice trails off. Although she let Natsuki join the club, Monica finds it incredibly difficult to relent to her demands. If Natsuki doesn't respect the club, why should Monica have to yield to Natsuki's opinion on anything? Natsuki, are you sure you don't have any other literature interests you could share with the club? I swear, I don't mind if you keep your manga in here, but just... Natsuki cuts Monica off by suddenly standing up. Well, it's obvious that I'm not wanted here, so I'm just gonna leave. But I really would have appreciated you being more upfront about it. Okay, I think you're jumping to conclusions here, but you're free to do whatever you want. Natsuki shoots Monica a quick glare before walking straight out of the room. Oh no. Sayori runs after her, leaving just Monica and Yuri. For a second time today, Monica slumps down into the desk. Why am I such a jerk? No, she's a jerk. She's making me feel this way. Monica looks up at Yuri, seeking affirmation. Yuri looks away. She probably just went around looking for the smallest club she could find, so she doesn't have to participate. How else does she expect me to give her respect when she has no respect for the other club? Or for the club? Am I wrong, Yuri? I'm not good at these things. Monica sighs. Me neither. I just have no idea what to do. I don't want to hurt anyone, but I feel like it's not wrong to enforce the club vision. You know, like, people should join because they want to express their passion for literature, or at least develop it. So maybe she's not a good fit for the club after all. Monica sinks in silence, afraid to accept her tentative conclusion. Yuri looks tense, but she doesn't seem to want to add anything. You can go back to reading. I know this doesn't concern you. It does. It does? How? Well, I can't just comfortably read in an atmosphere where the peace has been disturbed. Oh, well, great. I'm just ruining the whole club then. That's not an accurate conclusion to make. I know, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of voicing my frustration and, I guess, guilt. It's like my frustration wants to blame her, but my guilt wants to blame me. Why is it the hardest to be rational during the times you need it most? I don't think you're being irrational. I think Natsuki is. She has no authority to walk in here and make demands of the club. Your club. Something as ridiculous as manga has no place here. The fact that you're even storing it here for her, it should make her completely indebted to you. Well, you're right, but I don't know, it's just kind of harsh to say things like it's ridiculous and also has no place here. Do you not feel the same way? You've been doing everything you can to avoid associating the club with it. And I assume you felt the same way about it. That's not true. Well, recalling her confrontations with Natsuki, a realization starts to set in. You may be right. I mean, if it was anything besides manga, I would really be acting like this. Maybe I've just been convincing myself that this has nothing to do with manga. I'm really upset that I would let myself do that. With a sigh, Monica walks over to the closet. She finds herself staring at the colorful shelves. It's just... this really wasn't what I had in mind for the club about literature. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. Monica starts defending her position once again. It's a complicated issue that Monica had failed to consider before. Where is the line even drawn on what's considered literature? Lost in thought, she reaches into one of the larger box sets and pulls out a volume, inspecting it for no particular reason. The cover features 4 girls striking cute and exaggerated poses, all dressed in short skirts. Amused by the absurdity of the cover, Monica opens the book. What? That was it? Okay. Is there anything more? No. Okay, cool. I need to fill my water bottle. Oh, actually, first, before I do that, I don't know. Oh, did my thing just glitch out? Okay, well. Anyway, so I will quickly be right back and get some water. I can't. Okay, I am so sorry. I did not realize that happened. Like, I literally went. Let me lower myself a bit more. I went to the bathroom and I got water, and OBS just didn't want to exist anymore. Like, okay, thanks. Now I'm gonna have 2 videos I'm gonna have to piece together. Oh. Oh my god. I'm so upset by that. Okay. Yeah, you probably noticed it too, right, Arthur? That, like, the stream just automatically shut down. I was just like, I come back and, like, I click to make everything, like, my mic work, and it's like, whoops, OBS crashed. Would you like a report? And it's like, what? Hello? I swear, sometimes. Anyway. I was gonna be like, okay, so... Oh yeah, just... Totally normal Windows experience. Well, I was gonna say, there is something else? What? Oh, right, we're gonna go into, part 2. I was... God, now I can hardly think. No, I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna be like, you know, maybe I will read one of my unpublished poems, because they are right when they say that, like, the poems are very sentimental and they express your emotions and everything. And also I want to show, like, my not so morbid poems, because I've realized in the past few days that not only do I write like Yuri, but I probably write way darker than her. So one of them is like a love poem, but also like an appreciation poem. And like I said, the odds are of these people that it is about ever either hearing me say this poem or even just reading it is very slim to none, which is a little sad, but I mean, it's also a conclusion I've come. Sorry if that's like super depressing right off the bat, but I mean, yeah, so I'm thinking, I guess maybe go through this Natsuki one, this the one with Natsuki and Monica, and then I guess I can read it, I guess, because then, you know, we'll be kind of back in the swing of things, and hopefully my hopefully OBS doesn't snap me out of existence again. Okay. Let's go back before I have a full bitch mode. This sucks. Why is Monica such a jerk? You came into the club demanding that she take your manga in like it's a fucking orphan. She should be grateful that I even joined her stupid club. It's not like she could find any members. Oh, fucking rude. Jesus. Monica's usually really nice. She cares so much about everyone in the club being happy. Yeah, right. Well, she usually does. Maybe when she's not busy being so judgmental. So what if I'm into manga? Why can't just one person accept that instead of being so condescending about it? I accept it. I think it's cute. Oh, come on. That's condescending too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I just want to support you. Natsuki sighs. I know. Thanks. It just really sucks. Do you want me to talk to Monica? I don't know. It's not like I'm going to change her opinion on me. Like, even if you were to convince her to back off, that wouldn't suddenly make me feel like I'm actually welcome in the club. I should just find another club. Wait, you don't have to do that. We can figure this out, please. I mean, I'm the vice president, or at least I think I am. And I don't want you to leave. Everyone deserves to feel welcome and to be happy, so I want to make that happen for you. I was wondering, what was the reason you decided to join the literature club? Well, Natsuki hesitates. It's kinda dumb. Aw, don't say that. There's no such thing as a dumb reason when everyone is welcome. I wasn't welcome. You were to me. So, I keep hitting my mic. Jeez. Just don't tell anyone, okay? Especially Monica. I promise. Natsuki sighs. I'm just tired of everyone judging me all the time. I can't enjoy any of the stuff I'm into without people making snotty comments about it. Not that I care about what anyone else thinks, but, you know, the signs for the literature club said you can be yourself or whatever. So I decided it was at least worth a shot. But that was a lie, apparently. Natsuki dejectedly kicks the toe of her shoe against the wall. Oh, and I like writing too. Really? How come you didn't say that to Monica? Because she was being so judgmental that I didn't just want to tell her something she wanted to hear. She didn't deserve that kind of satisfaction. And if she knew I was into writing, then she would just be like everyone else and try to push me away from manga in favor of a more mature thing. The two of them remain silent for a while. Sayori understands that it's out of the question for Natsuki to return to the club room for today, at least. But Natsuki has a reason for wanting to join the club, just like everyone else. It's part of the club vision for her to be welcome. You deserve to express yourself as much as everyone else does. That's supposed to be what the club is for. So, I'm gonna do everything I can to fix this. I promise. It's lunchtime, the next day. The cafeteria hallway is bustling with students rushing to meet with their friends and make the most of their limited break time. Where could she be? Among them, Monica, who always eats lunch in her classroom, but she has an additional business today. Fearing Natsuki would avoid coming to the club, Monica decided to try to find her during lunch so that she could make amends. After searching for an extensive time, Monica finally spots her. Despite her short stature, Natsuki's bright hair helps her stand out from the crowd. Oh gosh. Suddenly feeling awkward, Monica is afraid to get closer. Natsuki is with some friends who Monica doesn't recognize, and they're all energetically chatting together. It would be really tactless to just interrupt them. Oh yeah, did you end up joining that literature club or what? Of course I joined. Why wouldn't I? I told you she would join. Come on, you know she would only join because you wouldn't stop giving her crap about the anime club. I told you, I never wanted to join that stupid club. Oh, sure. Well, you have to give her some credit for at least making an effort to finally grow past that trash. Oh, wow. Jesus, they are fucking awful. True. Well, congrats on finally graduating middle school, Natsuki. We're proud of you. Shut up. Just let me do my thing. I'm just joking. We know you know we love you. Gaslighting. Nice. Yeah, once the literature club makes you a famous writer, we'll be the first ones to buy your book. What, you're gonna buy her smutty fanfiction? Wow. Okay. Well, obviously, I want a signed copy. That was like years ago. I don't think I've grown... You don't think I've grown out of that by now? I told you I was joking. Besides, it's a good reminder of how far you've come since then. No, I think that's just you being a bitch. Not to mention, you could have done it without us. You couldn't have done it without us. That gives us a pass to the joke about it. Yeah, sure. They grow up so fast it brings a tear to my eyes. Natsuki suddenly glances in Monika's direction, prompting Monika to quickly turn away and distance herself. Really? Yeah, they kinda do. But also, I'm just like, I can see why her and Yuri's chapter is so hard and so heavy. That was horrible. I should have said something to defend her. Why do I have to be so conflict avoidant? Honestly, I don't blame her for being stepping out of this. 'Cause who knows what those girls would have said. Not that I deserve to say anything. I'm hardly better than them after the way I treated her. I'm so awful. I'm not doing anything right. After school ends, Monika distractedly makes her way to the club room. She finds Yuri already inside, eyes on a book as usual. Monika picks a desk and slumps into it, something she seems to be doing rather often lately. Yuri, I don't think I can be club president. I suck at handling anything that doesn't go exactly my way. Yuri looks up from her book. It's like the literature club is a place where you get to express yourself unless it's in a way that I don't like it. I'm so mad at myself. And I'm especially mad that I didn't have the self-reflection skills to realize what I was doing. So much for maturity. Sorry, I really shouldn't be complaining out loud like this. There's just a lot on my mind. No. I enjoy listening. Really? Why? Yuri shrugs. It just makes me feel nice. Oh, well, okay. I guess I'll continue then. Yuri nods. Yeah, Natsuki has kind of a blunt attitude, you know? It made me feel like she wasn't taking the club seriously. I couldn't even figure out why she wanted to join. I saw her friends talking to her in the hallway during lunch, and they were just so mean to her, telling her to grow up and stuff like that. That the literature club would help her grow out of her manga. It just made me so mad, just let her enjoy it. It makes her happy. Why are you trying to take that away from her? And when I had that thought, it was when I came to the realization that I was kind of doing the same thing, just in a roundabout way. I should have made her feel good about being passionate about something, but I just dismissed it. No, I was actually trying to avoid acknowledging it at all. I even did that with you, Yuri, when you first joined the club. You did? Yeah, I remember. Fantasy isn't really my thing, so I was kind of trying to dismiss it. But then Sayori jumped in and took over the conversation. I should have reflected on that, but I didn't because I just let Sayori handle it instead. And now I'm repeating the same mistake, except I really hurt someone this time. Monika shakes her head. I'm just so tired of being afraid of things I'm not comfortable with. It's so stupid. I can just picture how much joy it would bring Natsuki if I let her share her passion a little. I'm so angry that her friends were treating her like that. I'm going to get them back for it. Get them back? Yeah. I'll get them back by making sure that this is the literature club that Natsuki wants, not the one that they want. Suddenly, Sayori bursts through the door, making Monika and Yuri jump. With a rare, stern face, she marches over to Monika's desk and sits down next to her. I'm having an intervention. I can do that because I'm vice president. Is it about Natsuki? Yes. Yeah, I know. I messed up. I'm super sorry. I was just talking to Yuri about it. Really? I was so dismissive of her passion that she felt threatened and probably just unwelcome. Literally the opposite of what the literature club is supposed to be. I really need to make it up to her. Oh. Yay, I did it! Thanks for the intervention, Sayori. I'm glad we're on the same page. Friendship wins again. So, how do you want to make it up to her? I have a plan. Sayori, do you know if Natsuki is coming to the club meeting today? I don't think she is. I see. Monaco is afraid of that. Not because of her plan, but because she's facing the consequences of the damage that she inadvertently caused. But the only way to do the right thing is to face it head on. It's so easy to just duck away from the conflict and wait for it to blow over, but that's not enough. To truly respect somebody's feelings after you've hurt them is to face them and admit your wrongdoing. Not the wrongdoing of mismanaging the club, but the wrongdoing of disrespecting Natsuki's feelings. Okay. Do you think you can get her to come to the meeting tomorrow? I can do that. Okay, awesome. Yuri, you don't have to worry about anything, but thank you for being my friend. You're a good listener. Aw. Fidgeting with her hair, Yuri turns away to hide a smile. Oh, that's cute as hell. Well, I guess that's it for today. It's going to be a pretty quiet club meeting. I'm going to step out for a bit. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm going to read with Yuri. Hey, is this one of Natsuki's books? How come it's out here? Sayori picks up the manga that was resting on the adjacent desk. Oh, that? Natsuki probably just left it out by accident. But I thought she hasn't been coming to the club. Actually, Monika's been. Okay, Yuri, I'm sure it was just someone who was using the classroom then, okay? Shush! Monika smiles at them both. Then, with a wave, she exits the club room. I really shouldn't have left that out. If Sayori catches on, she'll definitely tell Natsuki, and that would get really awkward. Now, I wonder if there's a keyboard I could borrow from the music room. Gonna serenade Natsuki, or what? It's time for the club meeting. The time for the club meeting has already arrived. Monika and Yuri are the first to arrive. I'm so worried. Do you think Sayori is going to be able to bring Natsuki? Yes. How do you know? Well, she's Sayori. You know, you're right. Time slowly passes. Monika sits, then stands up to pace around, then sits again. Yuri's eyes doesn't move from her book. Then the door finally opens. Sayori marches inside. Behind her, Natsuki shuffles inside, nervously looking around the room. We're here. Welcome back. Monika, the club president, stands up and greets them with a smile. Sayori picks a desk and takes a seat. Natsuki sits closely next to her. Looking back and forth between the club members, Monika is struck with a nostalgic feeling. She would stand in front of the club room, just like this, struggling to picture just who may eventually be sitting before her. But imagination was never enough to predict just how unique and diverse each member would be. Each with her own struggles, her own reason for seeking the vision that Monika had, admittedly, so vaguely advertised, seeking trust, understanding, respect. What new lessons will the future hold for the Literature Club? A roller coaster, that's what. Realizing she's getting ahead of herself, Monika takes a deep breath and returns to the present. Okay, everyone, the Literature Club is starting. We have an activity planned for today. Monika turns around to face the chalkboard. On it, she writes manga in big letters. Today, we're going to learn from an expert about a unique form of literature, manga. Oh, come on. Isn't this kind of forced? I know you don't actually want to do this, so just... Monika shakes her head. Natsuki, this is the hardest part. After making it so far, it would be so easy to just smile and move on. But that's not enough, not this time. I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to not take you seriously when you were kind enough to show interest in my club. I thought about it and I realized how biased I was against manga. It caused me to disrespect you and I'm sorry. But I think you deserve to be able to share your passion with us. So, can I make it up to you? Well, thanks, but I know you're only doing this because Sayori told you to. Wait, that's not true. Monika planned this all by herself. I didn't even get a chance to talk to her. I was witness to this as well. This is a literature club. The literature club is a place where everyone gets to be themselves. We all have our own interests and differences. It's my vision to let us freely express that. And it's my goal to respect everyone for them. So, I just want to learn a few things that make you happy. I think that's what you deserve to share. I think it's what you deserve to share that joy, as much as everyone else does. Is that okay? Natsuki looks away and hesitates. But it's really dumb. The stuff I'm into. Monika smiles. She kneels in front of Natsuki's desk, looking her straight in the eye. If you like it, then it's not dumb. Oh, except for me. Sayori, you're not dumb either. Sayori, calm the fuck down and respect yourself. What the heck? You guys are so weird. Fine, I'll show you some of my manga. Only because you admitted that it is literature after all. Natsuki stands up. Oh yeah, I didn't say this before, but I'm actually into writing too. I'm kind of a pro, but I don't want you to like me just for that. Wow, really? I really did have you all wrong, Natsuki. Yeah, whatever. Today's not about that anyway, right? It's about manga, so I hope you're ready. That's kind of cute. A week has passed since Natsuki returned to the literature club. Since then, the club activities have been in full swing. Each member had received a day in the spotlight to share all of their favorite kinds of literature with each other. As another meeting draws to a close, Monika approaches Natsuki on the way out. Natsuki, are you in a hurry home or anything? Me? Not particularly. Why? Oh, there was just something I wanted to show you, if you had a few minutes. Sure, what's that? It's not in here. Can you follow me to the music room? The music room? Why? Well, you'll see. Oh, that is a fancy music room. Hell yeah, pride. You know, I was thinking back. When the club was just me and Sayori, we would talk about how we envisioned the club to turn out. We cared a lot about it being the place where people could express themselves. And she said something strange to me. She said that I was trying to make the club that I needed myself, more than anyone. But I think it wasn't until you joined that I fully understood that. Because you really taught me a lot about myself, like things that I was probably always too stubborn to admit. Oh, come on, you can't mean that. I didn't even do anything. I just, brought a bunch of manga and then I got fussy when I didn't have my way. It was really stupid of me to make such a big deal out of it. No, I honestly needed that. If you didn't express that you were hurt, I would have never realized that I did something wrong. Besides, your feelings are valid. They deserve to be heard and respected. It's just really hard to feel that way sometimes. You know, I really shouldn't care about what other people think of me in the first place. But when you're criticized by everyone around you for being a certain way, it can get really hard to just brush it off. And it makes me start to feel like I'm the problem. Like I'm not doing enough to please everyone. Am I being too entitled? If I just want people to like me without me having to hide a bunch of my stuff about myself? I don't think I am. I just wish that sometimes people would try to appreciate me for who I actually am. As Monika listens, she recalls vividly how Natsuki's friends were treating her, and how naturally they do it. How long has she been fighting against that, refusing to change for others? I could only wish I was strong as you, Natsuki. You're so honest with yourself. I'm always trying to come off as perfect to other people. Anytime there's a hint of contention, I just crumble. But it's thanks to you that I really started thinking about this stuff. You really inspire me to start working on it. But like I said, I didn't even do anything. You were just being yourself. That's all you need to do. Also, there's something else. Monika takes a breath. The thing is, I might have read a little bit of your manga. What? What the heck? Why didn't you tell me? I'm sorry, I just felt kind of embarrassed to admit it after I gave you such a hard time about it. I can't believe you of all people were reading manga behind my back. That's so funny. Yeah, well, I just flipped through one of them out of curiosity, but I ended up reading a whole bunch of it. But I mean, one of the characters was in a literature club. Hello, what? What are the chances? What are the chances, right? Oh, you were reading Parfait Girls. Wow, you have good taste. Just one volume. And I kind of just picked it out randomly. Well, you have good intuition there. You have to tell me all your favorite parts. Well, I think it was some kind of weird fate, because the character isn't just in a literature club, she also plays piano. Lore? It's just weird because I've always wanted to learn piano, and she was like a perfect person that I always wished I was if I just did what I wanted instead of always second guessing myself. Monica walks over to the piano and sits down. Aw. I always felt like I should only share the absolute best parts of myself, the parts that will impress people or make them like me more. But after you join the club, I realized how self-destructive that mentality is. We share this because we want to express ourselves. Sharing experience allows us to share emotions. And I just felt like I wanted to show you this because if it wasn't for you, I never would have started playing. Hey, I take credit for the one that goes to Parfait Girls, not me. No. Well, maybe it's true that Parfait Girls put the thought into my head. But it was still you who inspired me to keep practicing every day. Every day? Because, you know, you just make me feel like I want to do something. I should just do it. I mean, I still haven't been practicing for very long, and I'm really not good at it yet, like at all. But I wrote a song for the club, and I worked really hard on it. It doesn't have any words or anything, but, well, yeah. Weirdly kinda sweet. So it's just it's really pretty music. Just it's interesting. Also kind of came out of left field, but you know what? Sometimes some of the best things come out of left field. That's all. That was so good. It was? Yeah, are you kidding? You're like already a pro. Not even close. Does the song have a name? You said it was about the club, so yeah. True. I can't even play that good, and I think I did it for like 3 years. It's called My Song, Your Note, because everyone brings something so unique to the club. It's completely different from how I first imagined it, I think. But I was like such a selfish perfectionist. It shouldn't be about me, it should be about everyone. And it's all of you who helped me shape the club into what it is. I would never change that. Well, I think it's really thoughtful and kind of flattering. I kind of feel like I don't deserve this much validation. I see the rainbows in the back, Natsuki. You can't hide from me. I wasn't exactly very patient either when I first joined the club. It makes me feel like I should probably apologize too. I think I was just getting really fed up with a lot of things, and I got frustrated after not getting my way into the club. So yeah, I really didn't mean to take it out on you. I was being really immature. If you get my stubborn butt to apologize, I guess you're doing something right. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm past it too. I think we're already even. But it's really sweet that you're thinking about it. It takes a lot of maturity to reflect on that kind of thing. Well, I wonder who I got it from. Oh, never mind. Well, anyway, we're even as long as you let me keep my manga in the club room. You did admit that it's a formal literature. You totally can't take it back now. You got me. The closet's all yours. I'll tell you what. I'll bring in a little something for the club tomorrow. I want to do something nice in return. What kind of little something? Oh, you'll see. But I don't think you'll be disappointed. The next club meeting ends up being a particularly tasty one. Very sweet. Hey! So, I'm guessing we got her song, which is somewhere in there. I just don't know where. Oh! Oh, cute. That's adorable. Is there a way I can... Sometimes I want to just like... Some of these wallpapers, I'm like, can I download them? Can I keep them? Did we get anything? Oh, we did. Very nice. Hey, we got all the backgrounds. And then all the sketches, and yeah. Stay focused on your goals. As a reminder to help guide our data collection, any analysis performed should be focused on answering some of the main questions. Probably. I might have to look in like the actual game files and see if I got them. That'd probably be after stream stuff though. Any analysis performed should be focused on answering these main questions. How does granting elevated access to the VM affect a person's emotional state? How does granting elevated access to the VM affect a person's values and goals? How does someone effectively navigate and experiment with their ability to change the contents of their VM? How is elevated access being weaponized? What access and values most contribute to the destruction of the universe? What the fuck? Most importantly, how might your observations apply to our own universe? Yeah, virtual machine. First year college, we got to one of the mandatory programming courses, or one of the mandatory courses was doing a bit of programming, and it was just playing, like, getting up a VM and kind of just playing around with it. I've been thinking, one of my ideas was, like, for streaming was try to do a VM on my desktop, because it's a different operating system. But then a quick Google was like, it's not going to take from the graphics card or the graphics of your computer. So, no. I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. I know some things when it comes to programming, such as virtual machines. That's about as far as it goes. Well, no, I know a little bit. I know just a little bit to make a really shitty website. That's about it. And bonus, how can we present this to upper management as an operation that benefits the company? Unrelated note, Whoever changed the color scheme of the desktop to pink, can you please change it back? It's unprofessional and it runs the risk of drawing eyes. No, I think it's lovely. Oh wow, we're almost at one left. Or, we're almost at one. We basically have 2 parts left. A part of me is like, let me finish the side stories and then, like, you know, maybe I'll do the, maybe I will do the poem, but then, I don't know. It's just me being, like, not confident. That's all. You know what, because I'm only playing this for tonight, then I'll do it at the end when we finish it. I'm sorry. I know I'm like, oh, we'll just push it back, but I also do want to get through the stories too. They're just so fun, and they're interesting, and very wholesome, like weirdly. While Natsuki is messing with the orientation of her manga in the closet shelves, Sayori approaches from behind and pulls her into an embrace. What? Hi. The literature club has been in full swing since Natsuki joined. Including her, the club is now comprised of 4 members: Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, and Monika. Each club member has received a day in the spotlight to share all their favorite kinds of literature with each other. Natsuki was the first and shared her passion for manga. Then Sayori shared her love of poetry, as well as how she got about writing it herself. Monika, who has multiple literary interests, decided to focus her day on short stories. And finally, Yuri managed to demonstrate her obsession with fantasy, with a little help and encouragement from Sayori. Aww. After a week was spent on their presentations, Monika decided to give the club members this next week to freely explore each other's literary interests. Sayori, having spent most of her time in the club so far with Yuri's fantasy books, is rather excited to begin her journey into Natsuki's manga collection. I want to read with you today. Tell me which one I should pick. Well, that depends. What kind of stuff do you like? I mean, there's like romance, drama, comedy, mystery. I like all those things. Sayori reaches out and pulls a random book from the shelf and inspects the cover. Shouldn't this girl be wearing more clothes? You wouldn't like that one. In panic, she's got some hentai in there. In a panic, Natsuki snatches a book from Sayori's hand and places it in the shelf, in a less conspicuous location. Okay, well, if you have no preference, then let's just start with something that's easy to get into. A lot of these don't start to get really good until like a few volumes in, and I wouldn't ask someone to make that kind of commitment unless they're already into manga. I can handle it. I did it with Yuri's book at least. Well, I'm more considerate than that. Although, I'm kind of impressed that your attention span, if you put that much effort into her books. No, I have the attention span of a donut. Why is that a big fucking move? But I love my friends and I can do anything if it's for them. Oh, well, okay then. Let's pick something that even donuts can read. I didn't say it was a donut, I just said I had the attention span of one. Well, you were just saying, you're just trying to call me sweet. You're so cute. No. How did you get that to that conclusion? And don't call me that. A donut? Cute. Aw, how come? I just don't like it. I don't need a reason. Natsuki yanks the book from the shelf and closes the closet door. If someone asks you to stop, then you just need to stop. People need to realize that. I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to hurt you. Nah, sorry, it wasn't you. Natsuki shakes her head while pulling the second chair over to her desk. I was just talking about something else. I didn't mean to get angry all of a sudden. Natsuki averts her gaze and mumbles. You're like, well, like a nice person, so I wasn't talking about you. Still, I learned a valuable lesson. Sayori speaks softly, as well as feeling shy after receiving the unexpected compliment. Well, anyway, here's the book, so just start whenever you feel like it. What is it about? Well, it's a comedy, and there's romance too, obviously. Sayori looks at the title. It's called Love is Another Word for Luck. It's about a girl who keeps accidentally running into the same guys, and then you find out, like, well, you should just read it. But you have to tell me what you think. I can already guess who you're going to ship yourself with. It would be so funny if I'm right. Ship? I don't get it. Never mind. Let's not worry about the terms yet. Just make sure you tell me what you think. Okay, I'll start then. Hey, maybe tomorrow we can do poetry too. Oh, yeah, I guess. But don't you want to finish this first? Yeah, but we could do both. I mean, unless you don't like poetry, then I won't make you or anything. No, it's just, well, never mind. We can worry about it tomorrow. After the club meeting ends and Natsuki and Yuri leave, Monika strikes up a conversation with Sayori. I see you got Natsuki to share some of her manga with you. I really want to become better friends with her. She's so enthusiastic and expressive. I could just listen to her talk. She's so... I'm not sure if she meant I could say that to her or if I just can't say it at all. Say what? Nothing. I'm a woman of respect. But Natsuki is a woman of cute. I'm just gonna say that to my friends. Oh, I said that. I still love that. Woman of cute. Anyway, what's so bad about that? I don't know. But, you know, there's one thing I'm kind of worried about. Sometimes I'm afraid that Natsuki actually doesn't like me very much. Oh, that's ridiculous. How come you feel that way? Well, I mean, just little signs like how she only says hi to me after I say hi to her first. And it feels like she only gets excited to talk to me when it's about manga and other stuff she likes. She just seems, dismissive a lot. She was like that when I brought up poetry. Yeah, but that doesn't mean she doesn't like you. She's probably just shy, you know? Maybe. My stupid head is making me worry for no reason. It likes to do that. It's okay. Try not to worry so much and everything will be great. But you can always talk to me about any concerns you have. I'm here to help. You're the best. Sayori gives Monika a quick hug. Well, I'm gonna keep trying because I love her and I want to get close to her. You got this. After the next club meeting starts, Sayori's the last one in as usual. Trotting into the room, she sees Natsuki sitting alone in the closet, reading what must be manga. Without hesitation, Sayori pulls up a chair and plops down right next to Natsuki. Hello there. Hi. What you reading? Can I read it with you? Natsuki pulls the book away from Sayori. You can't just start in the middle. There are spoilers. Besides, what about the one I gave you yesterday? Sorry, I was just curious. Well, anyway, I've been waiting forever for this volume to come out, and it just came out yesterday, so... Oh, that's exciting. Well, I'll let you read it then. Can I sit next to you, though? Sure. Sayori plops down next to Natsuki, then pulls out a blank sheet of paper. Natsuki reads in silence, save for the periodic flutter of a page being released from beneath her thumb. From Sayori's side, only the light tapping noises of her pen meeting the paper can be heard. Time passes. Sayori's paper is filled with scribbles, and the margins are lined with stick figures. Natsuki lets out a deep sigh and closes her book. Did you finish? No, but it's a good stopping point. My head is swimming. I need a break. Natsuki stretches her arms. Are you bored? No, I was writing. Oh, I saw all the stick figures and I thought you were just bored. I just draw those when I'm thinking or waiting for inspiration. I made friends with them all. This one is sad because she thinks the night sky is pretty, but she can't look up at the stars in public without everyone thinking she's a weirdo. Rude. I do that a lot. And this one has problems with his back, but the doctors can't figure out what's wrong with him. What the heck? You're the weirdo. You want to read the poem I'm working on? Sure, I guess. Sayori slides the paper over to Natsuki. As Natsuki reads through the poem, she furrows her eyebrows. She slides the paper back over to Sayori. Don't you ever feel weird just sharing all your thoughts and feelings like this? I mean, your poems are, like, really emotional. Is that bad? Well, no, it was just an observation. I think people can get closer to each other if they find ways to express their feelings. Well, Natsuki begins to protest, but she can't find a good way of putting her thoughts into words. Doesn't that depend more on the kinds of friends you have? I don't know. To each their own, but I've never met anyone I'd felt comfortable sharing my poems with. Not that it's you, it's just how I am. So, you write poems? You never told me. I just thought you wrote other stuff. Yeah, that too, but you should... I mean, would you ever want to share? Like I said, I don't do that. But, can we talk about something else? I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It just makes me uncomfortable and I can't help it. Still, I'm sorry. It's fine. Well, let's move on to something that makes us both happy. I should continue with the book you gave me since I didn't get very far yet. Sure. Over the next few days, Sayori begins each club meeting by approaching Natsuki with unwavering enthusiasm. It's Natsuki! Natsuki! Hey, Natsuki! Oh no. At the end of the club meeting, Monica, who has become rather invested in Sayori's friendship mission, starts an innocuous conversation with Natsuki while she packs up. It's cool you've been finding time to spend with Sayori. She was pretty excited for the chance to read manga with you. Yeah. I'm sure you've been enjoying the chance to share it too, right? Yeah, mostly. Natsuki glances over her shoulder, but doesn't reply further. What's on your mind? Nothing. I don't talk about people behind their backs. Oh? Natsuki falls silent, but she just fidgets instead of getting back to what she was doing, as though she wants to say more. It's okay to share your feelings. It's different from talking about someone behind their back. I guess. I just hate when people talk about me behind my back, so I'm better than to do it to others. Monica shares a bright smile. You're really considerate. Thanks, I guess, but it doesn't feel like it. You can trust me. Natsuki stands in silence for a moment, still fidgeting. I just feel smothered sometimes. I'm not used to someone being like all over me right after we meet. I mean, it's fun to hang out with her, but I just have no control over the pace. I can't just meet someone and instantly become best friends with them and like share everything about myself. That's not how it works. I just want to chill out sometimes. Oh, I didn't realize that was happening. It's fine. Why would you have? I know, I just feel bad about it. I know Sayori, so I should have realized. Monica navigates through the tinge of guilt, which has surfaced mainly due to her being the one who previously encouraged Sayori's behavior. Despite not knowing the situation, Monica can't help but feel a little responsible. Do you want me to talk to her about it? No, I wouldn't like that. Well, I don't know. I could like divert her into another club activity for you or something. No way, that would be so underhanded and mean. Sorry, I didn't think that through. Besides, just because I complained about it doesn't mean I'm asking for someone to solve my problems for me. True. I'm sorry. I guess I just instinctively want to try to solve my problem, or to solve problems even if I haven't been invited to. It's fine. I would talk to Sayori about it, but it would make things really weird between us. I feel like it would make her just constantly be afraid that she's bothering me. I don't know how to keep things natural. Well, I think if you do a good job expressing all your feelings, she would totally understand. Sayori really wants the best she can be for other people, and I think she would actually be happy that you want to improve your friendship with her. Maybe. It just feels dumb talking to someone about how to be friends with them. It's just weird and not cool. Monica shrugs. It's the literature club. Then she mumbled through a stifled laugh. It's not the cool club. Hey. Sorry. That just tickled me for some reason. Look, I know you're kind of in a tough spot, and that it's hard for you to really express yourself. But you really demonstrate to me that you're great at self-reflection and critical thinking, even if it doesn't really feel like it to you. I think that's the most important part of being able to navigate through these things. So, I believe you'll find the right thing to do. Well, Natsuki instinctively starts to reject the compliment, but she can't find any excuse to do so. Thanks. Natsuki gathers her things, then she finishes her thought in a mumble. And I'm still glad I joined the club. Even if it's weird sometimes. Monica smiles, but Natsuki turns her back and walks away before waiting for a reply. It was an unusual way for Natsuki to express her appreciation, but Monica knew what she meant. It made Monica feel like everything really was going to be okay. Not bad. It's lunchtime. Sayori, who usually buys her lunch, is making her way to the cafeteria like any other day. The clamor and bustle of the students is drowned by Sayori's impeccable skill of zoning out. Alright. However, her imagination is momentarily interrupted by the glimpse of a familiar pink-haired girl. Oh hey, it's Natsuki. I never run into the other club members around the school. Natsuki! Sayori stands on her tiptoes and waves. Oh shit. Natsuki, who is busy walking and chatting with her friends, doesn't notice Sayori at first. Then she glances over in Sayori's direction. Sayori waves enthusiastically. Following her friends, Natsuki quickly ducks around the corner. Hey, she definitely saw me. Oh boy. Monica is the first to arrive to the club meeting, then Natsuki. Sayori, having glanced through the window to see Natsuki already inside, is unable to work up the courage to enter. Natsuki's been so distant with me. I was stupid to think that she even wanted to be friends. She only got excited because she got to share her manga. But aside from that, she doesn't even like me. I should just go home today. Right? It's kinda sad. Like, holy. Sorry, do you plan on going inside? No. Why? I'm sulking. Oh. Well, I'm sorry for bothering you. Excuse me. No, don't leave me! Oh, I'll stay here then. I don't want to go in. I'm afraid of bothering Natsuki. I saw her at lunch today, so I waved and called out to her, but instead of saying hi, she just ran away from me. Really? Not bad. Huh? Sorry. I'm sorry, that was a joke. It just sounded like something stupid that I would do from anxiety. From anxiety? Well, I just don't like attention being drawn to myself. Oh. Well, that makes sense based on the person you are. But Natsuki isn't shy, like, at all. I thought we were friends. But it feels like every day she was trying to distance herself more and more instead of getting closer. It makes me feel like she was only spending time with me during the club because I was reading manga, but she doesn't actually want to be friends with me. Well, I feel like I'm missing a lot of context here. Was she in the middle of anything when you approached her? No, she was just walking with her friends. With her friends. Yuri pauses for a moment. How do I put this? Sayori, you're very fond of your friends, right? You always want to be spending time with them? Of course, I don't think there's anything more important to me. I mean, the best parts of my days are always with my friends. Besides that, I really do hate being alone, so you hate being alone. Sayori nods. Well, we're very different people. I cherish my time alone. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So, I think, well, if I was trying to have alone time and it was being threatened with an interruption, then it would not make me very happy. Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with Natsuki. She was already with her friends, not trying to be alone or anything. Damn, this clicks. No, I think that's similar. It's, well, we're all friends in the club, but we have our own lives outside the club as well. If you think about it, making new friends isn't some casual occurrence that happens on a daily basis. A friendship is an invitation to intertwine your lives together, but the capacity at which each person is ready to do that might be different. There are friends who just like to have fun together, and others who talk every day and share every detail of their lives with each other. I think when establishing a friendship, it's important to consider the comfort level of the other person. Sometimes you do that, and then you could be like me and overthink the living hell out of it. But, I mean, we don't really know much about Natsuki's life outside the club. It could be that she simply needs to make friends on her own pace rather than jumping headfirst into a new commitment. But that means I was really bothering her. I just really wanted to be a good friend with her, so I treated her like one. Was I actually hurting her? I don't know. I'm sorry. My insight was really based on what I understand of my own needs. And Natsuki and I are completely different, so why was I so selfish? Oh god, she's overthinking. Oh no. Even if it's all true, then it still means I hurt her. I think I messed up. Yuri, with you, I think I was really careful to understand your needs when I was becoming friends with you. But I wasn't careful with Natsuki at all, because she already seemed really social. I just took control of everything instead of looking for the right balance. Now I hurt her and she doesn't want to talk to me. How can I let myself do this? Sayori, I think that, well, there was one time you told me something about the way I saw things in my head being different from reality. It's easy to automatically jump to the worst case scenario, but I think it's more likely that Natsuki doesn't abhor any ill feelings towards you. Or harbor. Jesus. So, I think if we were to realistically consider the situation and how it would cause someone to feel, I'm bad at this, I'm sorry. You're a lot better than me at things like confronting and reassuring people. Suddenly, Sayori gives Yuri a gentle hug. You're the best, Yuri. I'm sorry for burdening you with this. You're trying hard for me. You're such a sweetheart. She is, I agree. You're not a burden. I enjoy listening to others, and my friends deserve happiness. Sayori beams. Well, I think I'm gonna give Natsuki some space. She should do what she wants, and if she still wants to be friends, then I'll learn her needs and I'll match her boundaries. Wow. Holy. I want to be friends with Sayori too, goddammit. She's so considerate of others. I know she's depressed, but it's just like, damn. Girl, you have some great priorities. Yeah, I'm sure that's the best. I wish I didn't feel so awful and guilty. It makes me feel desperate, like I need to make it up to her by trying to make her happy. But that's not what she needs. I just have to tell myself that. It hurts, but I guess it means I still need to grow. I really want to grow as a person. If it's to be better for my friends, I want that. That's very mature of you, Sayori. I'm mature. Sayori hops up and down on her toes. So, does that mean you'll be going home after all? True. Sayori is definitely best girl. I just meant I'd be friends with Sayori. But also, because, like, her priorities for friends is great. And then there's Yuri, and I would just be like, alright. Hello. So does that mean you'll be going home after all? Sayori shakes her head. I need to be here to show that I respect her space. I'll just spend the club by myself today. Yuri nods in understanding. You can go in first. Okay. You're blocking the door. Oh. Sayori steps inside. By the way, before Yuri enters the club room, Sayori interjects. You said that you and Natsuki are completely different, but I don't really think that's true. I think you're actually really similar in a lot of ways. Yuri smiles and shakes her head. Sayori, that's absurd. You're really silly sometimes. Yuri turns and enters the club room. After a moment, Sayori follows. The club room is quiet. When Sayori walks in, Natsuki glances in her direction. Sayori smiles and gives Natsuki a quick wave before sitting down across the room. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. Sayori decides it's best to continue the manga she was reading, so she pulls it out. However, it looks like Natsuki isn't reading today. She has a sheet of paper in front of her and is tapping a pen against her desk, staring at it. Oh, are we writing today? Monica speaks in a quiet voice, unwilling to disturb the peace of the club room. She kneels down at Natsuki's desk. Hey! Natsuki pulls out the sheet closer to her and covers it with her arms. Sorry, I didn't mean to peek. Whatever. I just wanted to see how everything was going. That's fine. Natsuki replies dismissively. She glances over at Sayori, who is focused on her manga. Monica follows Natsuki's gaze. I think she's mad at me. How come? I'm busy right now. Ask me later. Monica falls silent. Natsuki looks back down at her paper. She inches her hand away from the top margin, allowing Monica to see. It says, to Sayori. Understanding, Monica smiles. She places a hand on Natsuki's shoulder and whispers softly, I'm proud of you. Huh. Natsuki looks away, but makes no motion to remove Monica's hand. Monica gives Natsuki's shoulder a quick squeeze before standing back up and pulling away. The end of the club meeting passes. Yuri has already departed. So has Monica, after checking on Sayori and Natsuki to ensure they wouldn't stay too late. Sayori was determined to finish her manga volume before heading out, since the end was approaching. However, with Natsuki also staying late for an unknown reason, a silent tension hangs in the air. After finishing the volume, Sayori brings it to the closet to put it away. She slides it in the back of the shelf while Natsuki watches. Then Natsuki gets up and pulls it back out in order to return it to its proper location. Sorry. I didn't know where it was supposed to go. It's fine. The two fall silent, avoiding eye contact. They both look like they're about to say something, but neither can break the silence. A moment passes. Well, I'll be on my way. I'll see you tomorrow. Sayori turns away to hide her pained expression, then walks away from the closet. If there was any proof Natsuki no longer wanted to be friends, this was it. Defeated, Sayori carries herself out of the club room. Once in the hallway, Sayori takes a deep breath and hits her palms against her cheeks to clear her head a little. Suddenly, Natsuki's stammering voice calls from behind. Natsuki? Startled, Sayori turns back to face Natsuki. Natsuki fidgets with and anxiously continues with a shaking voice. I have a lot of things to say. Me too. But you go first. Natsuki bites her lip and can't stay still. Well, first of all, she cuts herself short, struggling to continue. Trying to force the words out, she stamps her foot and hops up and down a little. Interesting. I'm sorry for the thing I did at lunch, and I'm sorry for just being kind of mean lately. It's really hard for me to I'm not good with things that make me uncomfortable, especially when it comes to like feelings and stuff. So, face burning, Natsuki clams up again. Instead of continuing, she simply holds out a sheet of paper for Sayori to take. The best place in the world. I love my bedroom. It's full of bright colors and soft things. The sunlight shines in and makes everything sparkle. It's the best place in the world. It is all my treasures, all my books, my collection, my memories. All my dreams were born in this room. It's the best place in the world. It is all my secrets, all my failures, my fears, my feelings. Sometimes it feels so fragile that the door will break at the slightest touch, but it's still the best place in the world. But when someone knocks, I get scared. I brace my arms against the loose hinges. Please don't break. Don't come in. I'm not ready. It's my best place in the world. The knocking won't stop. I block the door with furniture, and I peeks through the keyhole, and I panic. I am trapped in the best place in the world. I'm not ready to share my favorite place. I need to clean my secrets and make my bed to hide my nightmares. I need to touch them, to put them away, to see them again. I have so much to do, and I'm scared. I'm not ready. But it's still my favorite place. I still want to share it. However long it takes, if you wait patiently, I'll eventually open the door, and I'll show you the best place in the world. It's a poem, but I thought, well, I sucked it up so that I could work things out with you. Just be happy about it. Please? Yuri smiles deeply from the bottom of her heart. I'm happier than I could express. I feel so awful, but I'm so happy that you would do this for me. I actually realized before the club meeting today that I made a mistake. I got so caught up in the chance to get closer with you that I forgot to think about what you wanted, and that we probably have different ways we like to make friends. About, like, the friendship stuff. I mean, it's okay. I understand, so you don't have to force yourself to talk about it. Your poem did a good job. So don't force yourself if you're not ready yet, okay? Natsuki nods. You don't have to feel like you did anything wrong. It was my fault, and I'm sorry. I wasn't mad at you today or anything like that. I actually felt really guilty and wanted to give you space. I was thinking it's silly that I just approached you all the time and that I should just let you approach me when you wanted to. Just whatever makes you comfortable. I respect that from now on. Friendships should always start with those things. With the right balance. Right is cute. Also, gotta be honest, feels a little gay. One thing about that. Well, I don't want to have to approach you all the time either. I just want it to be balanced, like you said. Sayori nods. I understand. We'll make sure to get through it together then. Well, anyway, now that the two of them have found common ground, Natsuki finds it easier to speak more freely again. I'm gonna be, like, sharing my poems all the time now, or anything like that, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to do it once in a while. Only the best ones. So you better like them, because otherwise I might change my mind. I like anything you do, Natsuki. I was just saying. More importantly, I have to tell you about my new boyfriend. Huh? From the manga? Wait, I need to guess who it is. You definitely wouldn't be able to guess. The two walk down the hallway together. Oh my god, we have so much to talk about. Darn, I should have told you to save the last two chapters so I could see your reaction to the big reveal. Oh, you wanted to enjoy it with me. That's so cute. Oh, shush. Wholesome. It's okay. It's only she only has a husbando now. It's not the MC, holy. Oh. Very cute. I like the background. Some of these backgrounds on them are cute. Hey, Natsuki's poem. Oh. Acquire all of Natsuki's other poems. I named my pen the Expression Express. Okay. My feelings abroad with a ticket to you. No room for stammers, no lies, no extra stops, no compromise. Station screaming by, attendants saying hi. One ticket to you, please and thank you. Take a headphone and doze. No bumps in the rails, just thumps in my heart. Yeah. And loops in my letters, and clouds in the sky, and dreams in your eyes. You wake up, the train has arrived. Expression express, destination you. Choo choo. Okay. No. That means I haven't gotten all of... No. I haven't gotten all of Yuri's poems. If that's what that's supposed to be. Or it's the secret ones, I think. St. Ori. Poem. Past. Oh, I haven't seen this one. My conductor motions for one crescendo after the next, each time falling short of the climax. The lump in my heart that is carried by Sisyphus. How many words must I choose not to say before they finally break loose? Are dressily piling out of my mouth like a flock of school children at the start of recess. A pen cannot be erased, but even that metaphor fails comically as my floor is littered, blackened with wasted paper. A canvas on my mind full of disjointed thoughts and unfinished sentences. Perhaps all along it was wrong to be forcing them out of my room. I can't read the bottom. Oh, there it is. And I should instead invite you. Right? I'm like, God, now I have to go through all of this. Probably not on stream. An electrical signal from one remote corner of my brain, connecting all kinds of circuits and nerves and chemicals in a web understood by nobody. The chemicals make my chest tingle around my heartbeat. The nerves make my hand move, straining a dead tree with some dark substance. The ink reflects light into your glimmering eyes. Holding this paper is almost as though you're holding my hand which wrote it. Let our emotions stir together until our hearts beat in harmony. Connected to each other, I feel electric. I was so close with the poems. Cute. I also noticed, I don't think it actually saved, because when I did the Sayori Yuri one, it didn't save their picture, which is sad. But I'll, again, have to do that later. I like this one. Well, I guess since that is the end, I should fulfill what I was saying and, you know, do it. And I mean, it doesn't hurt. I say as I'm like, fluff. So I guess as a kind of a way to end off the stream, I guess. So the whole thing is kind of based on like like different cards of the like different tarot cards, and each poem is kind of a representation of one. So the one I'm reading is called The Lovers. Let me just... Of lilies and wolfbane, red roses and tiger's lily, from distant shores to local beaches, withstanding a new yet ancient poison. Different hearts for different flowers, two flames or two souls, love that can split in three, for I always save some for myself. Each flower's personality is both a complement and contrast. The only difference is the water between beaches. One I can visit at any point, with a view so perfect that it sparks long-forgotten passions. The other, so far away that it is nearly a longing from distance, to a shore that does not know my name. but whose view I can perceive through the photos of others, who have the courage to travel over the fearsome seas. Encouragement from ancient isles, whose magic lives in the hearts of its people. Continuous fighters from foreign influences. A mixture of both lights the passion in me and fuels the love I set aside for myself, pushing me to do what I love. Could this be a love letter to the two, or a simple thank you in convoluted words? Maybe that's for them to decide. So, yeah. Almost dropped my phone. I should probably get to... Oh, thank you. It wasn't as too bad. I mean, like I said, it's... Well, it needs a lot of work to it, but... It's... I guess I could say the book is almost ready. Just, I need to work on the images I've been putting aside for a while. But, yeah, so that was all the, DDLC, side stories. And, yeah, all the side stories, and I guess, what we could get for there. And, yeah, I guess a bonus of one of my poems. So, yeah. Well, I guess I'll see you Wednesday. I have 3 indie games I thought to finish, Stralagaster, and then 2 other short ones. So, yeah. You have a good night too. See ya.